Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because here, we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Alright, folks, today we're diving deep into what could be one of the most intriguing, exciting, and maybe even game-changing developments for the Dallas Cowboys in this offseason. And trust me, if you're a Cowboys fan, you're going to want to stay tuned because what I'm about to tell you might just shake up the entire receiver landscape for Dallas. We're talking about potential trade rumors, possible roster moves, and some behind-the-scenes whispers that suggest the Cowboys are eyeing something big. So, let's set the stage a little. The NFL is a league that never stops, especially during the off-season, when rumors swirl, players are in the spotlight, and teams are making strategic moves to position themselves for another shot at the Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys, as you all know, have been one of the most talked about franchises in recent years, not just because of their rich history, but because of the expectations that come with that history. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike are constantly speculating about what Jerry Jones and his front office will do next. And this year, the spotlight is on the wide receiver position, which has been a point of both pride and concern for Dallas. Now, why is that? Well, last season, CeeDee Lamb proved that he's a bona fide number one receiver, a true star who can take over games and be that reliable target every quarterback dreams of. Lamb is young, talented, and already among the elite in the league. But beyond him, the Cowboys have been searching for that elusive second receiver who can complement Lamb perfectly, someone who can stretch defenses, create mismatches, and step up when it matters most. And despite their efforts, especially during the draft and free agency, they haven't quite landed on that answer yet. They brought in some depth players, some veterans, but nothing that really screams game changer or difference maker for the upcoming season. And that's where the rumors get really interesting. You see, the NFL offseason is a fertile ground for trade speculation, and this year, the whispers are pointing toward a possible blockbuster move involving one of the league's most promising young receivers, George Pickens of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, you might be thinking, why Pickens? What's so special about him? Well, let's give you a quick rundown. Pickens is a dynamic, athletic receiver with a knack for making highlight reel catches. He's tall, physical, and displays incredible body control, which makes him a matchup nightmare for defenses. In his rookie season, he showed flashes of brilliance, catching 52 passes for over 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. And even though he's still developing consistency, the raw talent is undeniable. The Steelers, on their end, see him as a core piece of their future, especially with the kind of explosive playmaking ability he brings to the table. But, as we all know, the NFL is a business, and sometimes, players are moved for strategic reasons, cap space, or to shake things up. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The Pittsburgh Steelers recently made a bold move, trading a second-round pick to the Seattle Seahawks for DK Metcalf. That's right, the Seahawks sent Metcalf, one of the most physically gifted receivers in the league, to the Steelers in exchange for draft capital. This trade signals that the Steelers are willing to shake up their receiving core to become more explosive and versatile. Metcalf, with his size, speed, and playmaking ability, will now be the top target in Pittsburgh, likely taking over the role that Pickens has been developing for himself. But, with Metcalf arriving and potentially becoming the primary target, what does that mean for Pickens? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, Pickens' role in Pittsburgh might diminish, especially if the team wants to prioritize veteran presence or free agent signings. On the other hand, the Steelers might be open to trading Pickens to maximize their roster, and the Dallas Cowboys are reportedly very interested. Rumors have it that Dallas has been exploring the possibility of acquiring Pickens, especially given the team's need for a true explosive second receiver to pair alongside Lamb. And this is where the fans start to get excited. Imagine a scenario where the Cowboys pull off a trade for Pickens, giving them that big, physical, playmaking receiver who can stretch the field and take pressure off Lamb. It would be a significant upgrade for Dak Prescott's receiving options and could transform Dallas's offense into a much more dangerous unit. The question is, are the Cowboys willing to make that move? According to owner Jerry Jones, the train hasn't left the station in terms of adding receiver help. That phrase suggests that Dallas is still in the market for a big-name upgrade, and Pickens could very well be that target. Now, of course, there are some hurdles. The Steelers aren't likely to part with Pickens just for nothing, they'll want a solid draft pick or a player in return. And Dallas has to weigh whether giving up draft capital or other assets makes sense for their Super Bowl aspirations. But the fact that discussions are happening behind the scenes indicates that both sides see potential value. It's not just idle chatter, it's a real possibility that could reshape the Cowboys' receiving core heading into the season. Let's talk a little about the bigger picture here. The Cowboys have always been a team that's aggressive when it comes to making moves. They've shown willingness to trade draft picks, sign high-profile free agents, and take risks to improve the roster. This offseason, with the NFC wide open and teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, and even some surprise contenders, Dallas knows they need to maximize their offensive firepower. Adding someone like Pickens, with his upside and youth, could be a game-changer. And it's not just about adding talent, it's about filling a specific need. The Cowboys have a solid core of skill position players, but they lack a true dynamic second receiver who can consistently threaten defenses deep. Michael Gallup has been a reliable option, but injuries and consistency issues have held him back. Brandon Cooks, brought in last year, provides speed and experience, but he's more of a situational deep threat. The ideal complement for Lamb is someone who can be a reliable, physical target on the outside, someone who can win contested catches and create mismatches. Pickens fits that mold perfectly, and if Dallas pulls the trigger, it could elevate their entire offense. Of course, fans are also wondering about the long-term implications. Would this trade be a short-term fix or a long-term investment? And what about Pickens' contract situation? Right now, he's entering a contract year, which means he's playing for a big payday. That could work in Dallas's favor because they might get a motivated, hungry player who's eager to prove himself and earn that next contract. Plus, if the Cowboys can negotiate a new deal, they could lock in a talented young receiver at a reasonable price. Now, let's not forget the other side of the coin. The Steelers are known for their loyalty to their young players, and they might prefer to keep Pickens, especially if they believe he can develop into a true superstar. But given the recent trade of DK Metcalf and the buzz around Pickens' social media activity, unfollowing the team on Instagram just before the draft, there's a sense that his future in Pittsburgh might be uncertain. That action, while not definitive, definitely caught the attention of fans and analysts. It's a classic sign of a player who might be considering a change of scenery, or perhaps trying to send a message about his desire for a new opportunity. And that brings us to the social media aspect. If you've been following NFL news, you know how much social media activity can influence perceptions and sometimes even decisions. Pickens unfollowing the Steelers right before the draft might just be a minor thing, or it could be a signal that he's open to a trade. The truth is, in today's NFL, social media has become a new front line in player-team dynamics, and it's always worth paying attention to these little signals. But beyond social media, there are other factors at play. The Steelers' front office is strategic. They want to build a competitive team around their young core, but they also have to consider cap space, future drafts, and team chemistry. Moving Pickens might open the door for other moves, or it might be a way to acquire additional draft capital to bolster the roster elsewhere. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are looking at all options, weighing the risk and reward of trading for a young, talented receiver who could be a cornerstone piece for years to come. Now, let's consider the wider implications. If Dallas manages to acquire Pickens, it sends a clear message to the league that they're serious about contending. It also shifts the balance of power in the NFC, because having two elite receivers in Lamb and Pickens would make the Cowboys' offense one of the most formidable in the league. Think about Dak Prescott's potential: more weapons, more flexibility, more big play opportunities. It could also take pressure off the offensive line, giving Prescott more time to find his targets downfield. And speaking of Prescott, he's been a key part of the Cowboys' offense for years now. He's shown flashes of elite quarterback play, but consistency and supporting cast have sometimes been issues. Adding a receiver like Pickens would give him another premier target, someone who can create separation and make contested catches, helping Prescott elevate his game even further. That synergy could unlock new levels of offensive productivity, especially in critical moments and playoff scenarios. Now, let's not forget the broader context of the NFL offseason. The league is always shifting, and the Cowboys are no strangers to making bold moves. Whether it's through draft picks, signings, or trades, Jerry Jones and his team tend to leave no stone unturned when it comes to trying to improve the roster. And with rumors swirling that other teams are also interested in Pickens, Dallas has to act quickly if they want to secure him before another team swoops in. So, what's next? Well, we're all eagerly waiting to see if any concrete offers or negotiations will surface in the coming weeks. The draft is a prime time for these kinds of moves, and with the Cowboys holding multiple picks and a desire to make a statement, the possibility of a trade feels more real than ever. The NFL offseason is unpredictable, but one thing's for sure, Dallas is actively exploring all avenues to make their offense even more lethal. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Cowboys should trade for Pickens? Would that be the right move to take their offense to the next level? Or do you believe they should focus on other options in free agency or the draft? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news and rumors. This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and I can't wait to see what Dallas has in store for us. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!